I've seen it a couple places now, but apparently this is the movie where the MCU is going to introduce their own Norman Osborn. And according to this rumor, it's going to be Matthew McConaughey. So
No. Okay. Nope. That's not happening. I'm calling it here. Tell me. Okay. I think this is going to be so funny because I know that Thunderbolts is coming out before we do this episode in 2025. So I am interested in seeing if I'm laughing at something that actually happens.
yeah.
In our State of the MCU 2025, we will be able to tell what we got wrong with Brave New World, Thunderbolts, Daredevil. Those are the three big ones. And honestly, I think that's a great kickoff to the next season of Marvel.
Can you imagine hearing his southern drawl behind an Iron Man helmet? Just kind of like, all right.
Can the Spider-Man come out to play?
Misery.
Hello there.
Don't have a good day. Have a great day.
Talk to me, Goose.
I'm gonna steal the Declaration of Independence.
Why so serious?
World! I could do this all day.
Are you watching closely?
Something I was thinking about of more stuff that we could do that's not a ton of work. We did the one live stream a while ago, and it's something that we could definitely do again, but it like side things, like maybe non-movie related would be live stream stuff. One thing that I thought of doing is something as silly as I brought up a while ago, Mad Libs with Google Translate. We could just sit down and be goofs, like non-movie related, or do movie related Mad Libs, like tangentially related. So I don't know. I'm gonna bounce some of those ideas off of the other guys, and I'm sure we could do something. Maybe like could do video games or something.
Yeah, so it'd be cool to even just almost do an episode while playing Fortnite or something.
Yeah, that would be fun. The only difference, like if we live streamed it, is that one, we would probably only have one stream, as in mine, and unless you had like a switcher, which we have people who could be a switcher to switch between whoever's talking. I don't know. I think those would be fun ideas that we could explore. So as I was writing out the list, I realized, I was like, didn't we just talk about this? And I realized we did Marvel TV shows. And I think immediately after that, I said, hey, we should do the state of the franchise series. And so a lot of these we've already talked about, but I want to talk less about what we expect from individual things. We can do that for a few of them. But again, the point of this series is to do the overall vibe of what we're feeling, the news that's come out as of November 11th, 2024, to come back and listen to it, because I think a lot's going to change in the next 8 months before we come back and revisit this.
And I don't think we've talked much about the Blade situation either in any episode, so that'll also be something to bring up here.
I mean, I have a bunch of stuff listed, at least the stuff that has recently been announced and has had dates put on it. First, we recorded the Marvel TV show episode just when Agatha was coming out.
Yeah.
And I say that with two meanings, if you know what I mean.
I don't.
Okay. Agatha All Along has fully released by this point.
Oh, I know what you mean. Come out now. Yeah.
Agatha was a lesbian with Lady Death, as well as Billy. Billy or Tommy? Billy also being gay. So,
Disney loves their lesbian space witches.
I didn't think about that. Less about the space part. Yeah. But yeah, the similarities between Agatha All Along and the Acolyte are stunning.
Yeah, I think Agatha was actually better received, but still.
Yeah, for sure. Nando says that he liked it. I don't know how many of his videos you've watched. You send them to me
I
often.
watched Nando quite a bit.
I watched him for the recaps. I mean, he didn't recap them, but he gave his thoughts on them, and he was very positive about them. Again, he doesn't share our beliefs in that content. Like, he's all excited about their representation. I'm like, give me a good story.
I've gotten the vibe that he's pretty left leaning.
Yeah,
But he said it was some video we had about Wakanda Forever or something like that. But he says he has a hard time caring for Letitia Wright's character just because of her political views. So
Letitia Wright as the person, not as the character.
Yeah.
So okay.
Letitia Wright's political views, because she's,
So he lets her views affect the character's his care for the character?
Apparently. Which is kind of dumb. I mean, being, Christians, we kind of set that aside for a lot of actors.
It's true.
Their beliefs. So.
Oh yeah, 100%. But he, especially in the finale episode, or his YouTube video, he said that he's so excited for representation, and I'm like, I don't want to get into the representation thing right now, but it's a lot of tokenism, and not necessarily wrong that it's in there, though we would say it's morally wrong to practice those things and to glorify it, I guess. But that's one reason why I'm not going to watch Agatha. I'll just say that. I also wrote that it's just a dark, regardless of sexual orientation of the characters, the dark and mystical part of the MCU just doesn't fit with me, or at least in a live action version. I can see how Wanda and Mephisto and those additions to the comics really helped, especially with the situation of her massacring the X-Men with magic, the No More Mutants line. I don't know how I feel about how they took it with Agatha. I liked that Billy came back and everyone kind of knew it was Billy.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to Billy and Tommy being in a Young Avengers movie, most likely. But I don't care for his backstory. And apparently that's true to the comics. I don't know. It's interesting. And he said, Nando said, and again, Nando likes She-Hulk. So I don't know what to make of that. He says that it's the best, probably right next to WandaVision. And I'm like, whew, that's a big ask. Especially when he doesn't really like Loki, but less for the reasons that we've talked about, that he seems to look more into. Like, we like it for the story. I liked parts of Hawkeye, things like that we talked about in the TV shows episode. But I'm having a hard time hearing him say it's the best and being like, I really don't want to watch this. I don't care for what seems to make up most of the story is witches practicing real magic. Like, it's very different from the Harry Potter stuff. Like, we've talked about, I talked about that with Luke a while ago, is that the magic in Harry Potter is more like the Force. Like, if you have a problem with magic in Harry Potter, then you got to have a problem with the Force. It's just a tool. And I don't think that's what Agatha is written as. I think it's supposed to just be the dark arts through and through.
I mean, when you're actually using things like tarot cards and Ouija boards is when I get that's when I go watch it.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think even compared to how they describe Doctor Strange's magic and all that, it's all about tapping into the multiverse and all that instead of these actual mystic arts or whatever you want to call them. So
yeah, I think the Doctor Strange and Wong and I forget the group name, all of those wizards, all of that area of Marvel is more of like, not even white magic like Deacon talked about in the Horrors Biblical episode, just a general magic. Like the Multiverse of Madness, he tapped into, raising his corpse, one of his variant corpses, which leans into the dark magic, and that kind of was explored where he's like, I really shouldn't be doing this. But it's still very vague. And like you said, Agatha had tarot cards and Ouija boards and such being used as plot points in the show. And those are big no-nos. They're real things, whereas sling rings aren't. So I think that's the big difference.
I was just at a Bible study I was at last week. We were watching this Matt Chandler sermon on Revelation. No, except it wasn't. It was Matt Chandler's series, but this one wasn't by Matt Chandler. I forgot what the guy's name was. But he was talking about how basically we tend to over-fictionalize magic and the supernatural when it is like a very real thing in our world. And,
Yeah.
That's a whole different conversation to get into. But if we only see it as, like the magic we see in like Harry Potter and WandaVision, it's not really something we're taking seriously enough. I mean,
Yeah.
we can see it more as just something fun instead of what can really be a dark subject if you really take a look at it.
I forgot that I did an episode with Deacon called Movies Magic More. But yeah, he talked about magic in that one. That was his main goal with that one. But I wonder if that's a tactic of the evil one, is to make it seem common or okay. And that's kind of the Ouija board conversation of like, it's just a game. And it's like, no, it's not. It's much more serious than that. I've told you that I've gone down the Blair Creatures rabbit hole, deep into the rabbit hole.
Yep.
And I also found the Exorcist files in there. And that is really cool. It's an audio drama based off of actual stories of exorcisms and spiritual warfare in our real world. And one of the first ones I listened to was about a bunch of guys trying a Ouija board and a bunch of very non-coincidental coincidences happening to them. And it was very well done. I might link it in the show notes below, but I think it's a big no-no. We'll just say that. Anyways, we've talked a lot about stuff I didn't want to talk about.
Oh, okay.
Yep. One more thing.
I was just going to say, I think I must have been in junior high or high school or something, but we had this guy come for an assembly for like Halloween who was like this supernatural magician dude. And I mean, most of the stuff he was doing was just typical card tricks and stuff.
Yeah.
But then at the end, he kind of opened it up to questions. And someone asked about Ouija boards. And he was giving this very like long conversation about how to use them. And all the teachers were just kind of like,
stop. No.
Yeah.
Shut it down. Yep. Oh, man. Yeah. The other thing is something that I said in the TV shows episode. Agatha just doesn't fit in the MCU for me. And having a year of silence basically for Marvel, I don't really count Deadpool and Wolverine because it's still kind of an offshoot, even though it had multiple cameos. The Marvels being the last thing that Marvel released and then coming back with Agatha just doesn't do it for me. I think if they had... I would have preferred that Agatha wasn't made at all. But if they had to release it to have it happen after Brave New World, I think Brave New World should have been the kick back into the into the MCU that we know and love, at least as it seems. And I think that's what we're going to get into is like, is Marvel back? Keep that in the back of your mind as we keep going through some of these. Again, I'm going to kind of read through these maybe in sections to see what we're thinking. We don't have to talk in depth about each one. But also I want to kind of update future us about where we're at, what news is released about this stuff, and what we're feeling, especially with the more upcoming ones. Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man could be interesting. I think we talked more about it in the TV show episode.
Did we talk much about that one?
Briefly, we breezed through the upcoming ones. The consensus was that we were confused as to why it's an offshoot of the MCU, like a parallel universe. It's more of a what if, but I don't know. It's cool that Marvel Animation is doing more stuff. There's a lot of Marvel Animation stuff on here.
Yeah. I think my biggest thing with that is I kind of lost a lot of hype for it when they said it wasn't going to be a prequel. to
yeah.
MCU Peter.
Because we didn't get it. We didn't get a backstory for Tom Holland. Not that we need it, but also it's pretty interesting that Ben Parker was not the same stereotype that we've had, as in with great power comes great responsibility, did not come from him. So I would have been interested to see that.
I think it is suggested that Ben did tell him that, because I think he says that in the Marvel Zombies episode of What If.
Okay.
Or he said something along those lines. But,
your point is that you wish it was Tom Holland Spider-Man.
I just think, we've had plenty of one-off Spider-Man cartoons already. I just thought it would have been cool to do one connected to one of the movie series. So
I feel like it's going to fly under the radar. It's going to be one where, like, I didn't watch What If Season 2. I probably still will, but I haven't yet, and I don't care if I miss it or never see it. I won't be sad if I never see Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man.
I mean, of course, like, I think it's kind of cool to bring Charlie Cox in as Daredevil, and it's going to be cool seeing some of these characters, but overall,
I'm going to get into the same argument that you and I have, and we'll get to the nostalgia episode sometime. Are you saying that Charlie Cox is going to play Daredevil, voice Daredevil in your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man?
Oh, you didn't know that?
I did not know that. He doesn't have to be Daredevil in every single thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's
At least concede this. The animated show could be somebody else. He doesn't need to look like him. He doesn't need to.
Especially being in a different universe, it's not,
Yeah, he doesn't need to look like him. He doesn't need to do we're watching Daredevil, Ellie and I, and we're really loving it. I'm reliving it. She's experiencing it for the first time. But Charlie's blind stare, he just kind of, when he's looking at somebody, he's still staring off to the side. Like that's great acting, and I think he does a great job. You can still have somebody voice Matt, and still do a great job. Like that's at least something. You don't need to have the same things that I've argued Charlie does great. It's just a voice, and maybe bring a different Daredevil, like a different take on him. I don't know. We'll leave that for the nostalgia episode again.
We should do that sooner than later.
To be fair, watching Daredevil through again has made me excited to see Born Again.
Yeah.
And seeing behind the set photos and the new trailer. A lot of things have even dropped since our TV shows episode.
Oh yeah.
And we talk about Daredevil so much. So let's try and keep this brief. There was a literal teaser trailer for Born Again, and it looks so good.
It does.
Seeing the same vibe as I know season 3 gets to, but also it doesn't really change that much over the Netflix show. And also just picking up where those actors left off. Like, yes, we've seen them in a couple things like Echo and She-Hulk and Hawkeye, but still, I think that disregarding those, these are still the same characters from the end of season 3. It's going to be, it seems to be an interesting story, especially with a lot of people coming back. It's almost hard to see so many of the characters. It's all of the people from season 1, 2, and 3. Mm-hmm. You have Fisk, you have Punisher, and I forgot his name. Bullseye. Poindexter. Yeah. In addition to a new villain, and it's a lot. Like, I thought it was a lot. I thought it was a lot bringing Fisk back in season 2.
Yeah.
It's like, it was doing all right with Punisher. It was interesting bringing him back like that. And then, yeah, he became the main villain of season 3, and Poindexter was kind of the secondary villain, even though he was pretty big. Either way, bringing everybody back, I think they could have probably gone without Punisher, even though he's really good. Yeah. I love the character. And we wanted to see where Poindexter went. I wonder if they could go without the new villain. Remind me his name.
Muse,
I feel like, but also they need a new threat. And I think the where you're going to have 4 villains is it seems like Fisk and Matt are going to work together.
Well, Punisher's not the villain.
Yes, I'm getting there.
Okay.
I think Fisk and Matt are going to be working together because Fisk looks like he's running for mayor, and Matt is. They're talking at the coffee shop. I think Poindexter is going to be in a similar role as he was in season 3, where he's just kind of a distraction, not in a bad way, but like he's kind of stealing a show and taking Matt's time, and Matt's like, I don't have time for you, wannabe villain or wannabe Angie guy. So I don't know what Punisher's role is. I think it looks like he's trying to recruit him and help him, so he might be his fellow vigilante, whereas Fisk is his fellow lawman, kind of. Poindexter's the distraction, and then Muse can be the actual villain. I don't think it's going to get cluttered in the sense that while there's all these villains, is similar. The hard part for Matt and Foggy and Karen is similar to season 2, where they're like learning to trust the guy who's going against the law in multiple scenarios. So they had to trust Punisher, and now they have to do that twofold with Fisk. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I think what I had said in a previous episode is that I wouldn't be surprised if, we'll be getting, since it's 9 episodes, like 3 arcs with one big overarching arc. Then we have like a 3-episode arc for Bullseye. We have an arc for White Tiger. We have an arc for Muse. And then everything else with Fisk happening over that. So, and I don't expect the faith element to be as prevalent under Disney's management.
Probably not. I think that's what we'll cherish about seasons 1 through 3.
Yeah.
It's not too prevalent in season 1, and I can tell you that because I've been watching it a lot recently. But I remember that season 2 is more of a moral dilemma, especially Punisher's ideology versus Matt's. Season 3 kicks it into full gear. And you can go listen to our episode on that if you want.
Well, I mean, season 1 starts right off the bat with him, with the scene with Father Lantom.
Oh, yeah. I'm not saying that's not there in season 1, but it's not as much as I thought. But there's still good ones, like why, like he's pondering, why did he put the devil in me if I'm supposed to be good? If I'm supposed to use these for good, why do I feel so much anger? It's so good. Gosh, I wish there was more like that, but I don't think there will be. We said we weren't going to talk about Born Again, but we did. Oh, the other thing, we're still not moving on. I want good cinematography, and that's a big ask these days. The thing that I've noticed from season 1 is holding shots, and a lot of video essays will talk about this. So much editing now is just bop, 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 keeping your attention. And there are almost awkward inducing scenes in season 1, especially near the end when they're all angry at each other. And like I think in episode 12 of season 1, Karen and Matt are in the office together, and they're just standing there for a good 5-10 seconds, not saying a word. And that's good. That's feeling the tension in the room instead of either saying it, which is also wrong. You shouldn't be telling in a movie. You should be showing. I just love it.
I hope they stick with the long shot scene too. Each season has that one shot fight scene.
Oh, the oneer, yeah.
Yeah, and those are always so cool. So I hope we get it.
Oh yeah. Even if they're fake, like I don't care if they're fake. They're cool and worth the effort. It's just an idea, the idea of respecting the craft. And I even brought that up in the Discord today when the Mission Impossible trailer released. Is just you understand the respect for the craft that they have, even if there's CGI. Like I think Cruise was a little in the wrong for saying that Top Gun Maverick was completely real when obviously there was CGI used. It's come out about that he was lying about that. But I still think that there's stuff to be said about the craft of filmmaking. And there's multiple aspects to it, and I want that back. Is that too much to ask? Moving back back to Brave New World. Since last time we were together, we got a trailer. I think it was just because D23 Brazil happened, and they released more stuff. But Brave New World got a trailer. Got more look at the Red Hulk. Got more look at the bad CGI. It's a little janky. It's something they can clean up in 4 months. But
I think it's better than the final result of She-Hulk. So
yeah, for sure. I still have a problem with the nanosuit or nanotech, or I guess it wasn't even nanotech. Let's give it that. His suit that when he lands and it folds back wasn't nanotech. It was Iron Man tech, where it was, but it wasn't.
No, it wasn't nanotech.
Disintegrating. What's that?
I thought for sure it was disintegrating.
We'll look it up. We'll fact check right here. What else do you think about Brave New World as I'm looking it up?
It's doing a lot. Maybe too much. I had actually just briefly talked about it with my dad today, and he was kind of saying, and I agree, that kind of the Marvel movies that have suffered the most recently are the ones with the most weight put on them in regards to what they're doing for the universe as a whole. You know, like that's kind of why Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania and Doctor Strange: Multiverse of Madness both suffered. It's because they were doing so much, you know, for the universe as a whole, and the studio kept interfering, adding things, taking things out. And I mean, this is another significant movie for the universe, and I think there's definitely going to be a lot of there probably has been a lot of meddling from the studio in this one, and just the movie's doing a lot, as I already said. You know, we got Tiamat and everything they're doing there, Red Hulk, the leader, whatever his name, who plays Moff Gideon? What's that guy's name?
Giancarlo Esposito.
That guy.
Yeah.
There's whatever that guy's doing. There's the new Falcon, and it's just a lot. And I kind of think they're biting off more than they can chew.
Yeah, I definitely see that. I think they could go they could go without the Red Hulk, and I understand Tiamat because of the political nature. I think where Captain America, the first three, no, I guess I take that back. I was going to say that he kind of was away from politics, or at least modern politics, but it really was at least fictional politics. Yeah, I think that's the difference. They were fictional politics of, in the first movie it was Hydra. Second movie it was still Hydra, but modern Hydra. Third movie it was the government trying to control the Avengers. I worry that this is going to be a current our world political movie and become unbearable, but I still think that it could lean into, well, as in I say that because of how Falcon and Winter Soldier went with the conversation about that that he had with Bradley, which again, I don't blame the conversation with Bradley as a bad thing. I think the character of Bradley was I think the character of Isaiah was probably wrong for holding on to that, but it fits with that time period of, yes, they experimented on a bunch of different people, and there was racism much more blatantly back then, and it kind of makes sense that he would have that experience as a super soldier testee. But I think the conversation of like how you really need to consider taking up those stars and stripes was a very modern problem that didn't fit with how the first three Captain America with Steve Rogers was. And I hope that they just keep to what should we do about Tiamat? What should we do with the president who's a Hulk now? Like those things I think would be fine. But also I feel like the Red Hulk shouldn't be a part of this. I don't know much about the leader. I feel like he could bring a dark, mysterious threat, as at least that's what he's being shown as now. Yeah. I don't know what Esposito's role is. Maybe he's just a side character. I don't know.
I mean, part of the thing with the leader too is, I mean, it's with how long they've ignored the Incredible Hulk, it is kind of weird to acknowledge it again now.
Oh yeah, sorry, I'm just remembering the leader was the the Easter egg from the Incredible Hulk with the
with the guy with
the head.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, why are they okay, I'm confused as to why they're bringing the leader into a movie and still haven't given Hulk a movie. I think it's too late to give the Hulk a movie.
Well, that's all like rights issues, actually.
I know, but it's dumb to me.
I think they're also unable to give Namor a movie due to the same issues.
Sure.
I forgot. I think it might be Universal who actually has those or something. I don't know.
All right. I'm going to go frame by frame. The mask looks pretty good. I like the more white accents of the color and the helmet. I like the helmet as is. But when it goes, oh, you're right. It is nanotech. Gosh dang it. Yeah, that's unfortunate. I
mean, I guess I don't even know if it makes sense for him. I mean, it makes more sense than Ant-Man, I guess. But
yeah, I don't know. It's just having these characters just randomly get nanotech after Tony's died. Like it's super ironic that it's happening after he's died. I don't get it. I still want the shield to have like a super ability. That's why it has like notches in it, and it's for some reason not just vibranium. I like how they're doing the massive letters similar to Civil War. It's become a staple by now. I think I get excited only because I see F-15s or whatever they are. Oh, yeah. I'm like, yeah, this is cool. And the sound of them ripping across the sky, it's good. I like that. It feels free.
And what I saw pointed out today is like, I mean, how can he take a punch from Red Hulk even with the shield?
Yeah, that's true. The poster, at least that's a poster. I don't know if that actually happens.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta assume something like that's gonna happen.
Even the people who point out that Cap took Mjolnir in Avengers to the shield, Cap was a super soldier. Sam is not. I think that's what's interesting. We watched Winter Soldier recently, and I like that Falcon. Like, obviously, he gets some armor upgrades.
Yeah.
But even up until Endgame, he's still got the same type of wings. The mechanical folding and all that. Like, it still looks kind of rustic. At least, yeah, I don't know. It's too easy to have nanotech, and it's a cheat code. And I don't like it. And actually, as we were talking about the helmet, I brought up in our Discord conversation that the Thunderbolts, you said you were more excited for it.
It was, yeah.
But, was it Ghost? Ghost is the one who doesn't have the nanotech. It has the Iron Man, the old Iron Man. I gotta look that up now. And as I do, talk about Thunderbolts and why you think that is more worth your time.
Okay. Yeah, I just think that, Thunderbolts is a movie that knows what it is. From what I can tell from the trailers, compared to Brave New World. It's your fun Suicide Squad style movie with these reformed villains and anti-heroes getting hired. That's not the right word. Forced to go on this mission.
Yeah.
Whatever. I mean, we don't really know what the mission is yet. We know Valentina's in charge of it. So, I mean, it's cool to see all those threads come together, from Black Widow and Falcon Winter Soldier. And I don't know, especially even in the new trailer, seeing that scene of them like in the limo. I thought that just was so funny. Just being this Red Guardian limo and them all using that to travel. And dude, that scene with Bucky reminded me so much of like old Bucky scenes from like Winter Soldier and everything. So that was cool to see, especially when he like flips the Humvee with the tow rope. Even though that's another thing, even with the metal arm, I feel like he still should have gotten pulled by the vehicle.
Yeah,
I don't know how physics worked there. Because it's like his feet would have had to been like dug into the ground, but
you could say, okay, I remember he grabs it with his metal arm, he wraps it up, and then he hits the ground. I think that's what's supposed to insinuate the grounding, the anchor, but also that doesn't physics.
Yeah.
Can physics be singular? Physic.
Is it? It does not physic.
A singular physic.
What is a singular physic?
Anyways, I think that was the explanation for that. I was correct in saying that it was.
It's your helmet does that whoosh thing.
Her helmet does the whoosh thing.
That's a Toy Story quote.
But yeah, it comes
See,
off
that's
in
better.
pieces.
See, I'm okay.
Yeah, it's still super CGI, but it looks better.
I'm more okay with that.
I'm still confused as to what Taskmaster is, especially because I don't remember the Black Widow movie.
She was like a girl who blew up in a building.
But that's neither here nor there. It is odd that that 3 of the characters are from the Black Widow movie.
Yeah.
I do like how they're poking fun at each other. Like they say, you're just an off-brand Captain America. I actually was Captain America
For like a day.
for like a day. I'm curious as to what the asterisk is. I think they've said, oh, it's a bullet mark. You know, you shoot a bullet at bulletproof something, and the bullet spreads out into like.
It means more than that, yeah.
They've been putting. It's more than the design of the logo.
Yep.
It's being put on that's the title is Thunderbolts asterisk.
Well, I think the newest trailer kind of gave us a hint of what it means. You know, at the end when Alexi's going, "We are the Thunderbolts," and everyone's like, "No, that's not what we're calling ourselves."
Yeah.
So I think there's going to be some new name for them by the end of the movie. Whether that's
Sure.
I don't expect it to be Dark Avengers, but it very well could be.
I don't know what I think of the tongue-in-cheek delivery of that line. It's like the Ravager or the Revengers or whatever what happened in Ragnarok. Mm-hmm. It's just or like the Guardians of the Galaxy. I guess that was less tongue-in-cheek, but it's just the abstract naming of something very iconic, and you're like, we could be. I don't know.
Did you see the newest or one of the newest rumors about the movie?
No, I don't think so.
So I've seen it a couple places now, but apparently this is the movie where the MCU is going to introduce their own Norman Osborn
Why?
as Iron Patriot, because that happens. That's who Iron Patriot is in the comics.
Iron Patriot, who's already made an appearance in Iron Man 3.
Yeah. And Endgame.
And Norman Osborn is going to show up in Thunderbolts. Is he going to be an old man? Because then his son would have to be friends with Peter, but also that hasn't happened.
I don't know.
Peter doesn't have a friend named Harry. Or maybe they're just not going to do that. Maybe they're just going to use that storyline, the classic Spider-Man storyline in Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man.
And according to this rumor, it's going to be Matthew McConaughey. So
No. Okay. Nope. That's not happening. I'm calling it here. Tell me. Okay. I think this is going to be so funny because I know that Thunderbolts is coming out before we do this episode in 2025. So I am interested in seeing if I'm laughing at something that actually happens.
yeah.
In our State of the MCU 2025, we will be able to tell what we got wrong with Brave New World, Thunderbolts, Daredevil. Those are the 3 big ones. And honestly, I think that's a great kickoff to the next season of Marvel.
Can you imagine hearing his southern drawl behind an Iron Man helmet? Just kind of like, all right.
Can the Spider-Man come out to play?
Misery.
All right. Flies in on the jet of the Green Goblin. That'd be so good.
Be a son to me, Peter.
That's why I don't think it's gonna happen. Has he ever played? Like, can he do a regular accent? Because obviously accents can be changed.
I don't know. I mean, in Interstellar, you know, it's not as I don't know, obvious. I would say he kind of intentionally holds it back a bit. I think, but
those are the only ones we've really had trailers for. The others have been snippets of trailers, so we'll probably breeze through these now. And again, some of them we've talked about last time, but we can spend a little bit more time, but also not too much because we're already at 40 minutes. But Ironheart, we got a teaser of that. I still think that it's trying to revise Iron Man again. It's just too easy. And I think it's still, I don't know, having Riri just immediately, even in Wakanda Forever, be able to make an Iron Man suit with a box of scraps. Not even that. Like, it actually looks good. I guess you got Wakanda tech. I think just giving somebody the ability to be a genius is sometimes just too much of a giveaway.
Well, I mean, she is an MIT student, so
Yeah.
I think it was MIT. Yeah.
Why? Why do we need an Ironheart movie? Some of these, I would say a lot of these are like, I would rather not have them, and I'd rather you put more effort into either making things quality or making different storylines that further the connectiveness of the MCU, and that's why we call it the MCU. It's not very universal if you're just making a bunch of one-offs that don't seem to connect all that much. And I've argued for that. I've said maybe you should just stick to things that don't connect. But they want to connect. Like, that's their shtick. Right?
Yeah, I do agree that the CGI looks a lot more polished in what we've seen of Ironheart so far. In the newest half trailer or whatever it was.
Teaser, yeah. I have a feeling that she'll be connected to the Ironheart or to the MIT that Tony funded. I think that's kind of the point. I see this kind of as a Miss Marvel level show. It's maybe having that character that looks up to another previous character, wanting to be like them, and then, oh, look at that! You have the ability to be like them.
I wouldn't be surprised if this one's TV PG.
TV PG. Yeah.
That's what Miss Marvel was. You know, it was more geared toward teenage girls, so I could see this being similar.
Yeah, I think what this is really doing is adding another character to the roster of the Young Avengers. I think that's one of the biggest things that it's going to do, and that's fine, I guess. I just don't think I think when you're comparing her to Iron Man, which is quite obvious, I don't think she's going to be Iron Man level status in the Young Avengers. I think that's going to be Peter and probably Kate. Trying to think of the others. Probably Miss Marvel, but also she's the sweet one, so she's not very commanding. I don't know. She's not going to be the same level as Iron Man, and that's going to be interesting, having an Iron Man suit that's not in charge. Or they may make her in charge. I don't think that's a good idea, though. We'll see. That comes out June. I forgot to write down the dates of the previous ones. Thunderbolts is May. Daredevil is March. Brave New World is February.
Thunderbolts is
Spider-Man.
Hey, I thought it was July.
Was it? I don't...
Oh, it is May. You're right. May 2nd.
Right. Fantastic Four. Haven't heard much about this. I don't know what to expect. It's interesting that we now know that Valentina bought Avengers Tower and not the Fantastic Four. Oh, wait, no, that doesn't make sense because Fantastic Four is set in the 90s.
And another universe.
That too, I suppose. So maybe the 616 Fantastic Four possibly is still around and we haven't heard of them, which is very unlikely. Having Pedro Pascal and the guy playing the Thing, I forgot his name, and I think it's not easy to pronounce, but them being older and not young people like in Fantastic, I think that doesn't play into them crossing over unless they are plucked from 1990 or wherever they are into that universe. Like, I don't think they're going to.
Well, I think it's actually the 60s that they're from.
60s? Okay, my bad.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's my point, is that I don't think that they're going to they'd be like 110 by the time that they get to 2024 or 2025. So I think that if they're going to join 616, they're going to be plucked from their timeline and just dropped right there. And therefore we don't have a Fantastic Four in 616. I think that's the case that can be made, right?
I think Secret Wars is kind of going to do what the Crisis on Infinite Earths CW crossover did, where it kind of brought all these different universes into one at the end. So I think we're going to see by the end of Fantastic Four, we're going to see, or by the end of Secret Wars, Fantastic Four is going to be in the same universe. We're going to have X-Men in the universe. whether it's Hugh Jackman and whoever, or a new cast, and that's what we're going to see happen by the end.
That makes sense. Yeah, I feel like it would be like a Guardian style movie. Again, I'm making comparisons to Phase 1 through 3 because I think that's what we're most familiar with and what we should compare them to. Mm-hmm. It's one where they're kind of doing their own thing. There's not really any obvious connection until the team up movie, and really the Guardians didn't join until Infinity War, which is fine. I think that's great, and it also kept Gunn away from needing to connect them so much. We'll see when we do this 2025 edition, because the Fantastic Four is set to come out late July of 2025. And if that's the case, we might wait until after it releases. But if it's delayed, we'll only have Brave New World and Thunderbolts as the movies we'll talk about. But we'll at least have more info. Again, we're trying to do these year by year to see what changes over the years. And if we keep going with this podcast thing, in like 3 years, we can come back and listen to State of the Franchise 2024 and be like, man, so much has changed. We didn't even know about this movie that came out. So me in 3 years, I hope you have kids by now. And I want you to play this as an Instagram clip and tell us about the movie that we didn't know about in 2024. This is like a time capsule. All right. Eyes of Wakanda. Interesting concept. Probably not going to watch it because it's one of those where it's a spinoff. You don't really need to know anything about it.
What's it even about?
It's supposed to be Wakanda, the Wakanda culture, army, going to find the other pieces of vibranium that's scattered across the world, because they got the main meteorite, and that's what they built Wakanda around. And I think they're trying to find the other pieces of vibranium. But again, it's set in their cultural history, and so it wouldn't be modern, which would be interesting, I think. Maybe. That's actually, I just had an idea. You know the Native American superhero that they introduced in What If?
Yeah.
I wonder if they're going to introduce her in live action. I think this is a live action. I think Eyes of Wakanda is live action.
I thought it was animated.
I wouldn't know. I didn't write it down. Either way. Oh, if it's animated, then we've already been introduced to her in animation.
Yes, Eyes of Wakanda is an animated series.
Dope.
Okay.
Dope. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I think that would make sense of like not prehistoric, but like pre-modern. And they go to America, find her. Yeah, I don't know. That's just me speculating because it's not modern. That's the only connection I have. Any thoughts on that concept? Because you obviously haven't heard. I thought it was coming in the TV show episode. I thought it was coming out this year. They must have gotten the year wrong because right now it's set for August 6th, 2025.
I've honestly only heard this show mentioned like once or twice.
I've gotten the feeling that Wakanda is very selfish, especially with the first Black Panther movie. And if this is the history that they're giving them, saying all of the vibranium is ours, it's only ours, don't anybody else take it, that isn't a good look on them. But maybe it's just the hard truth of their history that they hinted at in the first Black Panther movie. So I want to go faster through these Marvel zombies. People liked the zombies episode of What If, and now they're making a whole show about it. We talked about the cast in the TV show episode. It's a spinoff of a spinoff. It's fine. I don't care.
Did we know about... I don't think we knew about Blade being the fist of Khonshu when we filmed the TV episode. So that's
let's talk about Blade really quick. Obviously, Marvel Zombies is still coming out, and they have Blade as a main character or as a character.
Obviously, expecting the movie would be out by now.
Yeah, probably. But also, I don't know what you just said about the Blade of Khonshu. Explain that a bit, but also know that, for the listener, Blade is apparently not coming out. It's pretty much been swept under the rug, mostly because nobody can get it off the ground. It just keeps living in production.
I feel like Kevin Feige and Mahershala Ali still think it's going to happen, but...
Well, I think Mahershala Ali is getting fed up with, guys, I want to make a movie. It was announced like 6 years ago. Give me something to do.
Yeah, 2019.
Goodness. Yeah, they got to get something moving. Or I think that was the news that I heard, is that he was thinking about quitting. Or resigning, which again would have been funny with the Deadpool and Wolverine line. There can only be one Blade. So
That was also a weird line to have in a movie if you're planning on doing a Blade movie.
especially when you didn't know the status of it. I don't know what that was all about. I'll just say that. It is good that people see Wesley Snipes as the one and only. Like, so far, he hasn't been rebooted.
Yep.
And I think that was what that line was supposed to mean.
Mm-hmm.
But it kind of was prophetic in saying, hey, Blade Never movie is never coming out. It would have been really interesting if it was not Wesley Snipes and instead it was Ali. But also that wouldn't really make sense.
Yeah.
Because that's more of Gambit's role, is to see a character we haven't seen before and then develop the movie possibly. I don't know. You would love a Gambit movie, I bet.
I think it'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
I don't know much about it. Yeah. But anyway, so apparently in this alternate what if universe of Marvel Zombies, Blade is the fist of Khonshu instead of Mark Spector. So that's going to be interesting.
Yeah, that makes a lot more sense because I recently watched the trailer again and I was like, that's obviously Moon Knight, but it doesn't sound like...
Yeah.
Or no, sorry, my bad. The What If did sound like... What If Season 3 trailer came out today and it has Moon Knight. And I actually think it's Oscar Isaac. That's what I was thinking.
Oh, I haven't watched that trailer yet.
Oh, spoilers. Your Moon Knight is there and he's not getting a second season for some reason.
It's coming. It's coming.
Yeah. Anyways, that's an interesting idea to change it up in that way.
Yeah.
Wonder Man, we got a teaser at that. Don't know anything about the character of Wonder Man. I still don't know why Trevor Slattery is in this thing.
I don't know.
It's okay. So Shang-Chi was a pretty serious film. Like, he's dealing with family trauma. It's got some cool action. It's got a world-ending dragon. It's not all that goofy except for Awkwafina.
Yes, except for Awkwafina.
Except for Katie. And Trevor's inclusion there obviously makes a little sense because he played the Mandarin and he got in trouble with Mandarin, which ended up being Shang-Chi's dad, I guess. So that kind of makes sense, but I don't know why he's in Wonder Man.
Because he's an actor and it's about actors, I guess.
Oh,
you didn't know he was an actor? The Wonder Man character?
I think I got that from the trailer. He was like signing up or auditioning to be something. Remember in like 10 seconds, remember 10 minutes ago when Eyes of Wakanda, I suggested that there might be a connection between pre-modern stories where if it's a pre-modern Wakanda, they might encounter the pre-modern Native Americans and that superhero. That was a very big stretch, I'll admit. But this Wonder Man connection of, Wonder Man's an actor, or whatever his name is, and Trevor Slattery's an actor. They could be in the same thing. Like, that's basically the stretching that they're getting to. And Ben Kingsley, bless his soul, he seems just as giddy to play Trevor as Trevor is to play the Mandarin. He's just like, yeah. I just got hired for the job. Don't blame me. Don't shoot me. That's all I got.
I think this is supposed to somehow connect to WandaVision because his character is connected to WandaVision in the comics. I think he eventually becomes Wanda's husband or something like that after Vision dies, but
not our Wanda. Wanda's too in love with Vision.
And dead. And
dead. Yeah, I don't know. We will probably have more info next year. We'll see. And maybe we'll do some more research instead of just throwing stuff at the wall, seeing if it sticks. So that's the end of 2025 as of now. I'm sure a lot of these things will get delayed. The next on the list was Doomsday. And I didn't realize that that's a year and a half away. I don't think that's happening in the sense that I don't think we're going to get a movie of that scale by May of 2026.
Really?
It's probably going to be their fall release for 2026 at least. I don't know what the status is on filming it, but
I don't think they would do an Avengers film as a fall release.
That's true, but that's a big movie.
Yeah.
I also wonder, we've talked about the Spider-Man 4 problem, which is next on the list, but after Infinity War and Endgame, so I do think that the Avengers movies ramped up. But do you keep going off of that trajectory? Or is Doomsday going to kind of be a minor threat and leading into Secret Wars? Secret Wars is a pretty big event too.
Yeah.
But again, this is the problem with all superheroes, is that they just need bigger problems. Just need to keep getting worse and worse and infinitely bigger. And that's the hierarchy of bad guys, is eventually you have to find a place to stop. And they haven't found that yet. I don't think they will. Until the MCU inevitably ends one day. But I don't know. I wonder what other things are going to set up Doomsday. Because looking at the other releases, at least that have been announced, the movie before Doomsday that's listed is Fantastic Four, which apparently is not our universe. And then we only have Thunderbolts. So we technically have 2 movies set in 616 that are releasing that precede Doomsday.
I think Fantastic Four is going to have some pretty big setup for Doomsday.
Possibly, I suppose. That actually would make sense, that even though Galactus is shown and said that he's going to be the villain of Fantastic Four, that RDJ's Doctor Doom starts in that universe. Not as a big bad.
It's just a rumor, but I think I've seen multiple things saying he's going to have a post-credit scene in Fantastic Four. So
that would make sense, but that's not a setup. That's a tease.
Yeah. So maybe it should be more than that, but we'll see what they do.
And then Eyes of Wakanda and Marvel Zombies are spinoffs.
Yeah.
So unless Wonder Man's going to do numbers as a Disney Plus series, I don't know how you lead up to. They haven't been connecting anything.
No.
I don't know how Doomsday is going to go unless they give us more.
I mean, they just canceled the Kang route recently.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
It's still, I think they're still course correcting right now.
Ugh. What's interesting, and I don't want to move on immediately from Doomsday, but Spider-Man 4 releases 2 months after Doomsday. Mm-hmm. I'm getting the feeling of Endgame and Far From Home all over again, where it's a very close release, at least as it currently stands. And first off, again, I don't know if Doomsday is going to have enough lead up to make it important enough. And second, Spider-Man has to appear in Doomsday. I think it's pretty obvious. And that's going to affect 4, how that plays out. But we haven't seen Spider-Man since then. No. And so he's going to show up to fight Doomsday, and everybody's like, either they're going to say, "Who are you?" or they're going to say, "Oh, Spider-Man," and he never takes off his mask. Or I guess he can. He can just tell them that he's Peter Parker now. Yeah. But, yeah.
I mean, when you think about it, Age of Ultron didn't have that much setup.
No, because they're still developing other characters with their solo movies. Mm-hmm. With Iron Man 3, Captain America 2, Thor 2. But yes, you're right. The actual story of Ultron is just like, hey, Yeah. I still think that it was built up in Avengers 1 with Tony being like, we should be the protectors. And then it develops in Iron Man 3 with the Iron Legion. He's like, protectors through AI. They didn't call it AI. That's still a buildup. Whereas Doomsday, or with Endgame, they wiped the slate clean. And they've done, in my opinion, a very poor job building up Phase 4 and 5 into another Avengers movie. And I don't know how Doomsday is going to work because, like I said, I'm looking at the rest of the stuff. I could be surprised that they pull it together in 2 movies or 3 movies and a couple series. But we'll see. We'll see in a year. Well,
there's also Captain America: Brave New World.
Yeah, but that still seems like a very political, down-to-earth, not galactical type of movie. Or universal, multiversal. Thunderbolts 2. I don't know. I don't see anything multiversal except for Fantastic Four on here. And Marvel Zombies, but again, I don't expect an animated spin-off Disney Plus show to be that big. And we talked about in the TV shows that there were 2 shows that really played into the the movie releases, and that was WandaVision playing into Multiverse of Madness and Ms. Marvel playing into the Marvels. Mm-hmm. So I think that's something interesting to look into as we're looking at those future releases. Doomsday again isn't releasing for a year and a half, but I think we'll get more info in the 2025 edition. Spider-Man 4, you've ranted plenty about that. Have we gotten any more news on that?
I don't think I've actually ranted much on the podcast about it.
Please rant.
Please rant? I don't even know where to start. Just kind of, I understand why they changed directions, seeing that it's being placed between Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars now, but I think the original plan was kind of what we needed for Peter. Because I think, I would even say we shouldn't have even had Daredevil and Kingpin in Spider-Man 4. And I've talked about this with you before. Because I think we really just need a movie for Spider-Man to be Spider-Man. There's always so much going on in his movies, I feel like, just with the other characters they involve and all, that they haven't really given Tom Holland's Peter Parker Spider-Man his time to shine.
Yeah.
I think they're always concerned about with who else they can put in the movie. I think what they should really do is just give him a simple Spider-Man story like we saw in Tobey's movies and in Andrew's movies. You know, it doesn't have to be a complicated cameo, whatever. It can just be him being Peter and figuring out life. I mean, that's what we had with Tobey and Andrew, and that's why we love those movies. And I think, I mean, you can tie it into the MCU, of course, but it doesn't have to be like, he doesn't have to have a mentor in another hero. And I think Daredevil and Kingpin would work well for a Spider-Man 5 if we got a Spider-Man 4 with him just being Spider-Man. But I'm kind of disappointed by this multiverse route that they're going now, especially if it's supposed to be kind of a sequel to Venom: The Last Dance. I don't know if that's official, but I also don't know where else they would pick up with the whole Null situation. It's that was kind of the weirdest parts of Venom: The Last Dance. Sorry for spoilers for anyone, but kind of just the fact that they set up this big villain, but also like killed the main hero of this universe. So I don't know where that setup is leading. If we're gonna have Kraven and Morbius and the Madam Web trio fight Null, or where they're going with all of that, but I just think we need those movies to be good, for one thing, and we need Peter Parker's Spider-Man to be more established in the MCU before crossing them over, is my take.
The Spider-Man trilogy had that same arc. Even if Homecoming wasn't especially what we wanted, it was still down to earth and friendly neighborhood Spider-Man because it was at home, even if it was still tied to Iron Man and kind of riding on his coattails of being the mentor. And then I went international with No Way Home, or with Far From Home, and then multiversal with No Way Home. I am losing hope that Spider-Man 4 will be not multiversal or not as big as No Way Home. The hard part to accept is that not everyone is as critical as we are. They just want to see, they want to see the Venom characters or the Morbius, and goodness, imagine the post-credit scene of Morbius actually pays out in Spider-Man 4. That would be, oh, goodness. But
I know it's got something to do with Spider-Man.
I actually will put money on this. And again, this is 2 years away. So we'll see what State of the MCU 2026 has in store. But I will put money that it's going to be a team up with Daredevil. We're going to get Daredevil Born Again. It's going to do well.
Really?
They're going to greenlight a 5th/2nd season.
That's already happening.
Season 5 too is.
Yeah.
Okay, I did not know that.
Really what they did is started with a 18 season Daredevil Born Again.
Oh,
and
that's right.
22 9-episode
9 seasons.
seasons.
Okay. So then my prediction is already coming true. It wasn't even a prediction. It was just an ignorant statement. So yeah, Born Again is part 1, whether they call the second one something else, not Born Again. But I'm going to stick to the Netflix series and say season 5 is going to come at some point around Spider-Man 4, either before or I would say probably before, probably spring of 2026. And then be a Spider-Man 4 will be a team up with Daredevil. Probably not to fight Kingpin or to fight with Kingpin, but some other villain.
Really? You don't think it's going to be Kingpin?
Well, he's working with Matt right now, and unless he just has a complete 180 again and just is like, Daredevil, Matt, you are such a nuisance and the Spider-Man and whatever. I don't know.
Well, I mean, I don't think they're working together because they want to in the new show.
But they are working together. And it's one of those things, it's maybe a cliche that I don't want, is where they complete the mission, they shake hands, they're cordial, and then he's like, still going to come after you. You got 24 hours to run or something stupid like that. I think Spider-Man 4 will be somewhat of a down to earth, but I think it's going to be similar to Homecoming, where they're still riding on another character, which again, Spider-Man doesn't need that.
No.
He can carry his own franchise, and they haven't let him.
I think that Tom Holland, he has the greatest potential as Spider-Man of all three of them, I would say.
Yeah.
But we just haven't.
He's the first one to get a 4th movie.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
Well, technically, Toby got a 4th movie in No Way Home.
Technically. Yeah.
Technically. But I think he just has the right energy for the role. They just need a good script. Just let Spider-Man be Spider-Man.
Gotta keep moving. Vision Quest. Probably still a part of the WandaVision Agatha All Along series that's kind of been going. But again, Vision isn't even Vision anymore. The whole, have you heard of the Ship of Theseus? Don't know. It's kind of dumb to me. Still one of those. It's like Loki, where you brought him. You're finding a different way to bring him back, even though the character's gone. Now Loki turned out to be really good. I don't know. It's a filler one, I feel. But again, we don't know anything by now. Thoughts?
It's been too long with no answers about him.
Yeah, I forget that WandaVision came out in 2021.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
That's been 3.5 years, and we haven't heard a single.
It's been over 3 years. Yeah.
Goodness. Okay. We'll see what we know about that next year. Secret Wars, I think, again, is part 2 to Doomsday. Was Secret Wars originally slated for the Kang Dynasty part 2? I think they just changed the villain.
It was always Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So they just switched Kang Dynasty for Doomsday. And having Doctor Doom be the person who creates Battle World and bringing all the different multiversal heroes to fight each other instead of Kang.
Apparently. If that's the story of Secret Wars, which we don't really know yet. So
that's fine. I actually feel like Doom is more of that type of person. Kang, I think, he's a conqueror. He's more of a ruler. And Doom is more of a foe, if that makes sense. where he wants to be. He's a contrarian, but an extreme contrarian, where he wants to just be against everyone, and he wants everyone to be against everyone. That's why he creates battle worlds. Or I don't know how it works in the comics, but that makes sense to me in my mind.
You know, like have you seen the comic panels where he just like wipes out Thanos
No.
or Doctor Doom? That'd be really cool to see, just to kind of show how big of a threat he is.
I think that is what's going to top Endgame. Endgame was big. Endgame was culmination of 10 years and so much content actually working pretty well together. Is it the one where he rips out his skeleton?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But I think Secret Wars will be bigger, not only because we have more years, like another 8 years to build stuff since Endgame, but also it's multiversal. That's the multiverse saga. We will see Tobey Maguire in Secret Wars. I think that's almost guaranteed, along with many others. I remember we talked about the cameo exhaustion, not mentally like I'm sick of cameos, but like we're running out of people to make cameos. Either people are, you have your list of people who are unwilling, and then you have your people who still have yet to be used. I think it's dwindling.
Yeah.
And people who actually care. Like, I think Elektra was probably on the fringe of people caring to see Jennifer Gardner as her, reprising her role. But I think that's starting to see tapering off of the cameos. So we'll see who actually comes back in Secret Wars. I don't mind the Secret Wars storyline being multiversal because it can make for good eye candy. It reminds me of the animated YouTube show that do you know what I'm talking about? That has the
I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Yep.
I forget what it's called, but it's every single movie character. Honestly,
Yeah.
It's Toon Sandwich, Superhero Bowl, or other things. Super Showdown Bowl. So yeah, Toon Sandwich does that. I think those are very entertaining. To see matchups you never see otherwise. That's what Secret Wars is going to be. So I think the hard part for that is giving it a story instead of just saying, what would it be like if Hulk went up against Spider-Man? I don't know. There needs to be reason for it. And it probably will end up in like, hey, everybody, we got to work together to defeat Doom. Maybe a little cheesy, but I think that's what I expect.
What I hope for Secret Wars, though, is that it's still focused on the arcs of MCU characters.
Like 616.
Yeah, like 616 MCU characters.
Yeah.
Because
for
that's
sure.
that's their characters, and that's who they should be focusing on. Because what it sounds like the rumors have been is we're going to see a team of like Tobey Maguire, Spider-Man, Hugh Jackman, Wolverine, Ghost Rider, played by Nicolas Cage, and it.
Yeah.
I mean, it. I really hope it's not that, and I really hope it's centralized on the characters that they've been writing up to until now.
Because they could go off the rails. They could go off the rails and start talking about, focusing on the wrong characters. And you're like, I don't want those. Armor Wars is the only other one I had.
Is that still happening?
I don't know. It's another one that's been delayed into infinity, but it was listed on the page that I looked at. I don't know. I think it's pretty obvious that it is still following the real Rhodey after Civil War. It could be fun to just completely accept what happened in Secret Invasion, just be like, I never got to say goodbye to Tony. What do I do now? But also I feel like this could be maybe an addition to the Brave New World saga of the political drama. It's always kind of been the thing of that led up to Civil War, is who has control of these road people. And Rhodey even was a military man, and maybe he goes rogue in this one. I don't know. But again, not even been confirmed really. Could be canceled. We'll see next year.
And I think Justin Hammer was rumored to come back for that one.
I mean, he'd be fun. He was fun in Iron Man 2, and I know that, Sam Rockwell's always a hoot.
Yeah, he was fun.
He would slip right back into that role.
Yeah.
I had Blade canceled at the bottom, but we kind of already talked about that. It's just in production hell. We'll see if it comes out.
Canceled's not the word. It's just been indefinitely postponed.
Yeah.
Because that's different. It is, but it's kind of not.
Yeah, at that point, it's like the Star Wars announcements that have come out recently. It's like,
Yeah.
Are these really going to come out? Or are you trying to get investors to still give you money? And especially the ones that have been announced. Like, they were announced probably soon after Endgame finished, and they haven't started production. It's odd.
It's so funny how we got all those. We got Taika Waititi's directing a Star Wars movie. The directors of Game of Thrones are directing a Star Wars movie. Sean Levy's directing a Star Wars movie, and it's just none of them are happening.
We're not here to talk about Star Wars, although Simon Kinberg making a new trilogy. Beau Willimon, who worked on Andor, is co-writing the script of Dawn of the Jedi. That's James Mangold's movie. Dave Filoni's movie, Taika Waititi's movie, Sean Levy. So yeah, those are technically still in production, but not likely to come out. And again, too far away to tell. We'll see next year. The other things that are too far away are stuff that's just called untitled. Like there's apparently an Okoye spinoff, Shang-Chi 2. I would hope Moon Knight Season 2 is on there.
Doctor Strange 3.
Doctor Strange 3. Untitled is too far away to make any predictions on it, even if we would fan write it. This is the closest thing we could do. But that's the state. Actually, no. That's the objective things that are coming out that we know of. Now, to wrap up, we will share with each other our deep and profound thoughts of where we think the MCU is now and the state of it in 2024.
They seem pretty. How do I want to start this? They seem pretty.
They seem pretty.
For me right now, I think Star Wars seems entirely aimless, and none of the projects are really leading to a larger story. You know what I mean?
Sure.
That's kind of why I feel like I've lost a lot of passion for Star Wars. But I think Marvel's close to that. But I kind of you can still feel that things are progressing.
You know why? It's because they're actually releasing things. And you know that you've seen trailers for them. Star Wars is just like, hey, believe us. Sources, trust me, bro.
and even the things that come out for Star Wars are just kind of filling gaps and story threads not going much of anywhere. So, but I think Marvel seems to have more of a plan, and things are still progressing towards a larger story. So I think they might be able to pull something off. I think it's obvious that they have been reevaluating, and they kind of realized that they were in a quantity over quality mindset. So I think they're kind of adjusting back to quality, hopefully. The 2025 schedule kind of scares me because there's not much gaps, and I don't want Marvel all year. I want to be excited and have that time to wait between projects instead of just being immediately spoon-fed the next one after I finish the first. So I don't think Marvel's dead. I think
that's not the question anymore. We moved on from that series.
I think they're making adjustments, and it's just going to be a wait and see to see if they can fix enough things.
Yeah. Do we have a part 2 to Is the MCU Dead? Because we had the TV shows.
We talk about it a lot, though, so.
Yeah, I mean, I like this style more. I don't think we've talked off and on again about the MCU being alive or not, but yeah, we have talked about back then the rumors of them pausing production on stuff to reevaluate. And I think that's showing its fruits now. Still think Agatha All Along should have been postponed a little bit, but Brave New World's going to come in full swing. Thunderbolts is probably going to win a lot of people's hearts. Daredevil Born Again is going to be a hopefully continuation of the show that we know and love.
Yeah.
I think they're on the right track. I don't think that they're ever going to recapture the original feeling ever again. They might think that they are.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's ever going to happen. I will find it hard to believe that you're getting any new fans of Marvel right now. I think anyone who is in. They have their Disney Plus subscription. They go and see the movies. But they're trending downwards in the sense that they need to pick up the people who left the MCU fan base because of the Marvels and other bad shows like Secret Invasion and She-Hulk. Bring them back. And that's us. Brave New World has me hyped. Thunderbolt has me hyped. Daredevil Born Again has me hyped. I hate to say that announcing RDJ as Doctor Doom is working. Only because I wonder what the difference would have been if I don't know how the fan base would have reacted if they had just announced Doctor Doom as the new bad. I definitely think they needed a new face to get that moving forward. And I don't know what it would have been had it been anyone else other than RDJ. That's what got them talking, is that RDJ was playing Doom. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, if it was just Doom as the big bad without RDJ's name attached to it. I don't know. I think I said what I said. We've been trending downwards. Their reevaluation needs to bring their reevaluation is now coming to fruition, and hopefully bringing those people that they lost back into Doomsday. But they need to keep that momentum going, and that doesn't necessarily mean bigger and better every time. That just means good stories, one after another. Mm-hmm. And we'll see. I think a lot will be revealed by next summer when we get these three big ones that we're looking forward to: Brave New World, Born Again, Thunderbolts. Mm-hmm. Maybe Fantastic Four. But
it's going to be interesting to see what post Secret Wars MCU is.
Yeah. You think they should stop after Secret Wars?
I don't know. I mean, they're not going to.
I know, but imagine that the rumored things, Armor Wars and Blade, come out before Secret Wars. Mm-hmm. And then anything that's untitled is just scrapped. Would you be satisfied with a Secret Wars finale to the MCU and never touching it again, and instead making solo movies with a new take?
I mean, I don't want the movies to be entirely disconnected afterwards.
Sure.
I think there's a charm in bringing the characters together. I mean, that's why the Infinity Saga and Infinity War and all that work so well. Mm-hmm. I think you have to do more than just solo movies, but
okay, instead of solo movies, like you're saying, give different directors just the rights, like the Batman. The Batman, yes, I guess, is already building its own universe with the Penguin and such, but that's Matt Reeves' baby.
Yeah.
Give somebody the rights to Iron Man. Let them come up with a completely different story that doesn't have to connect to anybody, with a new character, the new kid on the block who's going to be the biggest name in 2028, 20 years after Iron Man 1 releases. Mm-hmm. Let them use that character the same way that Gunn, used his ragtag group of people and make something quality that people like. Not just because it's Iron Man, not just because it's RDJ, because they would have put RDJ away. They have, technically, for Iron Man. Make something new. That's my hope, and that's not going to happen in my lifetime. Cool. See you next year. Yeah, expect episodes on the MCU between now and then. I think we'll do 1 or 2. Maybe of reviews of these new movies, but I'm looking forward to 2025. I think it's got some good stuff, especially considering we got nothing in 2024. Nothing of value, I would say. Cool. All right. Well, thank you, listener or watcher, for watching or listening. You can follow us on all our socials, subscribe here on YouTube, or follow us wherever you're listening, whatever platform you're on, do the thing, and share it with your friends. Remember, pyramid scheme. We want to share it with at least 3 people, and then those people will share it with the other people, and we'll take over the world. Buy some merch. This is like the first time I've worn it on an episode. Bible Equals Bars. I think we'll be coming out with some new stuff for our 100th episode. So stay tuned for that. And until next week, know that you're loved. God bless.
Thanks for watching, Mom.
Did she ever say, "Hey, thanks for shouting me out in the episode"?
Yeah, she has acknowledged it.
She texts you after the episode's over. You're welcome, Zach.